Long ago, Australia was not the land we know today. It was stranger, harsher, and far more dangerous. Step into prehistoric Australia, and survival would feel impossible. The ground burned with heat by day and froze at night. Storms ripped across deserts without warning. Even the land itself seemed hostile. But the greatest danger came from the creatures that ruled it. Here, giant kangaroos stood taller than a man, thundering across the plains. Towering birds, unable to fly, struck with crushing force. In the shadows, massive lizards, longer than a bus, crept forward, their jaws ready to kill. And lurking in the swamps, crocodiles the size of boats waited for anything that dared to drink. Every corner of this land was a trap. The skies, the waters, and the earth itself promised death. No modern human could last long here. To step into prehistoric Australia was to enter a nightmare world, one where survival was never guaranteed. And danger lived in every shadow in prehistoric Australia. Danger did not just surround humans, it stalked them. The land was home to predators unlike anything alive today. To walk here was to be hunted. The most feared was Megalania, a giant lizard longer than a car with venom and crushing jaws. It could wait in silence, then strike with terrifying speed. No human could outrun it. Then came the marsupial lion, a predator with bone-cutting teeth and claws made to rip through flesh. It was smaller than today's lions, but far deadlier. It was able to climb trees and leap on prey without warning at night. Packs of giant hyenas prowled, their howls echoing across the plains. Every shadow could hide a killer. For Homo sapiens arriving in this land, there was no safety. To hunt meant becoming the hunted. To rest meant risking death. In prehistoric Australia, predators ruled, and humans were only intruders in a kingdom of monsters. On land, danger hunted with teeth and claws. But in prehistoric Australia, even the skies and waters were filled with death. There was nowhere safe to hide. From above came the thunderbirds, giants taller than a man with crushing beaks strong enough to shatter bone. They could not fly, but they did not need to. With powerful legs, they could chase down prey and strike with deadly force. By the rivers, the danger grew worse. Ancient crocodiles longer than a bus lay hidden beneath the surface, waiting in silence. Their sudden attack was unstoppable. One bite, and it was over. The waters also carried snakes as thick as tree trunks, able to strangle and swallow whole. Even to drink was a risk, for the river itself could kill. For humans entering this land, the sky, the earth, and the water worked together as traps. Every step was a gamble. In prehistoric Australia, death could strike from any direction, leaving no escape. Prehistoric Australia was not only deadly because of its beasts, the land itself was a weapon. Survival here meant fighting the earth, the sky, and the air you breathed. The days burned with punishing heat. The sun scorched the ground until it cracked, and the air shimmered with fire. Water was scarce, rivers dried without warning, and thirst became the first killer. Then came the nights cold enough to freeze skin, with winds that cut like knives. Storms appeared suddenly, drowning the land in floods that swept away everything. And when the rain stopped, the deserts swallowed whole valleys, leaving nothing but dust. Even food could not be trusted. Many plants were poisonous, and even touching them brought sickness. For humans, this land was a cruel test. One mistake meant death. Prehistoric Australia was not a home, it was a battlefield of nature itself. The animals were fierce, but the climate was fiercer. It was a place where even the sky seemed to conspire against life. When the first humans set foot in prehistoric Australia, they entered a nightmare. The land was strange, the animals enormous, and every step carried danger. Yet somehow, they endured, armed only with stone tools. Sharp sticks and fire. Small groups of early humans learned to fight back. They hunted in teams, driving giant animals into traps. They built shelters against storms and carried flames across the wilderness, guarding them as if fire itself was life. But survival was never easy. Food was scarce, and the climate punished them at every turn. Crocodiles guarded the rivers while venomous snakes hid in the grass. At night, predators circled their camps, waiting for weakness. Still, the first Australians adapted. They learned the secrets of plants, the paths of animals, and the rhythms of the land. They turned a place of death into a home, but the monsters they faced would not last forever. A new mystery was waiting: the sudden extinction of the giants that once ruled this deadly land. For millions of years, Australia belonged to the giants. Towering kangaroos, thunderbirds, and monstrous reptiles ruled without challenge. But then suddenly, they were gone. The bones tell the story. Within a short span of time, almost every great beast vanished. Why? Some believe the climate turned against them, with harsher droughts and shifting seasons. Food grew scarce, water dried, and the giants could no longer endure. But another theory is darker. When humans arrived, they brought fire, weapons, and teamwork. They hunted the largest animals, burned forests to shape the land, and slowly pushed the giants toward extinction. Perhaps the newcomers tipped the balance, finishing what nature began. The truth may be both: climate and humans together, sealing the fate of Australia's monsters, yet their disappearance left behind an empty land. Without the giants, humans became the new rulers. But in the silence that followed, a deadly legacy remained, one that still haunts Australia today. The giants are gone, but their shadows remain. Prehistoric Australia may have ended, yet its deadly legacy still shapes the land today. The ancient crocodiles never truly vanished. Their descendants still lurk in northern rivers, waiting with the same silent patience. The venomous snakes and spiders of modern Australia are echoes of that brutal past, survivors of a world built on danger. Even the harsh climate-burning heat, sudden floods, endless drought still carries the spirit of the ancient land. For early humans, Australia was nature's ultimate test. For us today, it is a reminder. The monsters may no longer walk the earth, but the land has never been tamed. Every step in the outback, every shadow in the water, whispers of a time when survival was nearly impossible. Prehistoric Australia was not just a chapter in history, it was a warning. A land designed to kill, where only the strongest endured. And its deadly truth still lives on.